Hi everyone, this is Kellyanne with Church Windows. We are going to go ahead and get started with today's webinar that's going to take a look at basic setup and using the scheduler module. I'm going to go ahead and close our presentation on screen. If you're new to using the GoToWebinar toolbar, hopefully you were watching that. Um, while I'm showing you things today, Rachel is also in the room with us. And if you open up your question panel, I won't be unmuting people, but you can type questions into the question panel, and Rachel will be answering those while I'm showing you the scheduler module and what I wanted to show for today. Do ask that you keep your questions topical on the scheduler module. If you have other questions, we'd be happy to answer those either via email or calling into support. But again, you can type questions and Rachel will answer those. And then at the end of what I'd like to show you, we'll just open the floor to questions that I'll just read out loud for everyone and answer. I'm going to go ahead and just open up Church Windows Scheduler. Real quick though, I want you to look in the upper right corner of Scheduler. And there we can see the version, and we are using the most current version of the program, 18.15.3. Now the scheduler module hasn't had a lot of changes since I started working here in 2007, I believe. But there are a few things here and there that may have moved and a few little additions. So if your scheduler looks slightly different from what I'm showing you on screen today, it might be that you're using an older version. But the functions in scheduler, I don't think they've really changed since I started working here. It's pretty simple to use once you take a look at it. I think they made one change of the ability to add multiple locations to an event. I think that's one of the biggest changes I've seen. So to open Scheduler, we just click on the word Scheduler with the little clock, and you hopefully don't get an error right away when I start. Let's try that again. I was opening it earlier on this computer before getting ready for the class, and we got no error. So let me try that one more time. Now, typically, if you get an error, you do want to write the details down and give us a call. But for today's class, wanted to get this opened up quickly again. So here we go. Scheduler opened up for us just fine. When you open Scheduler, it typically will open up to either, if you look in the upper left, you can have a day view, week view, or month view. And we can set how it opens up by going into Setup and Options. And first we're going to look at how you set up the scheduler module. Now what I show you today is going to be, we have 20 minutes, so it's going to be pretty quick. And basics, if you have more in-depth questions, we can ask those at the end or even call in or email. If you go to Options though, there's some things you can set about how the program works, and it's probably best to come into Setup Options first before you start working. We can choose whether it opens to day view, week view, or month view, and when you set up an event, a default duration, which you can change if you need to. But if your events typically run 30, 60, or 120 minutes, you could pick one of those, and it would default to set up that amount of time. Also, what start time our calendar starts on. And if you're on a network where people are entering things to the calendar frequently, then you can choose what refresh rate you'd like across the network. And then tooltips, this is when I hover over an event, what it will show me when I hover over that event. Let's look at how you set up the different portions of the scheduler module. You want to set up the different items before you actually go in and put an event on the calendar. I mean, you don't have to, but it's best. Notice under Setup, we can set up categories. And if we look to the right side of our opening screen here, we can filter what we see right on the screen to different categories we've set up. And we can also use those for our reports as well. Now I'm going to show you each of these setup screens, but I'm only going to add on one because the way you add or delete any of these different items is the same on all the screens. So we can go to categories. Here we see the different categories we've already set up. Down at the bottom left, we see we can add, edit, or delete our categories. I'm going to click add, and we'll set up a new wedding category. If we wanted to enter notes for that, we could. And we can also have a default color for categories. And if we assign a category to an event, then on that event on the calendar, we'd see a little bar of that color. So that's just a quick indicator of what that category is if you choose to set up categories. I'm going to make our wedding category color purple. Now here, if I wanted to delete an item under categories, I could just highlight it and click delete down at the bottom. I'm going to leave these here. I don't want to delete them. If I hit delete, it's going to remove it, and it would remove that category from any event I'd assigned it to. Wouldn't remove the event, but it would remove the category because once you delete it, it no longer exists. To edit an existing item, I just click edit, and then I could go in here and change what I needed. Also, on all of the setup screens, you have a report button. If I click report, oops, let me hit save. We'll go back in there. I may have misread that. But now let's click on report. And the report screen comes up where I can choose some different things about what I'd like to see and the format of how I'd like to see that. For today, we're just going to click print because, again, we only have 20 minutes. So I'm just going to show you basics here. This shows me a report of the different categories I've set up. So on all the setup screens, the report button doesn't show you, it doesn't bring up events where you've assigned that to. It brings up a list of, in this case, the different categories I've set up so far, and then any notes or anything I've checked off that I'd also like that report to show. Now let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to show you the other setup screens. You can also set up duties or jobs that people around the church may need to be, you may need to find people to fill those different jobs or duties. Notice lower left we have the same add, edit, and delete, the report button, and here we just have general information we can put in for the duties, the name of the duty, and then any notes we wanted. And then once we add a new one, just like the other screen, we can save and close, or if you add it or start entering one and you decide you don't want to, you can cancel. Let's look at the next item under setup. We have equipment. If your church has a lot of equipment, you might want to track that in the scheduler. We can set up the different equipment we have, and we have some other items here we can set up for equipment. In addition to name and notes, we can also indicate where that piece of equipment is typically located if we want to enter that. And we can also assign it to a specific category if you like. And you can also add a contact or someone who's in charge of that piece of equipment. Let me just show you. If I click on edit to add a contact, I just click that button and I'll see the people where on their membership record I've indicated I want to see them in scheduler, and I can just add that person to be the contact for that piece of equipment. Now you can fill in as much or as little as you need on these different setup screens. The next item we can set up is locations in the church. This is good if you have a lot of events going on. You might want to track the locations. That way you can include it in conflict checking, and if you schedule 2 events in the same location, a little warning will come up to let you know. We can assign a category to our locations. The equipment will show when I click on a location here, but it does tell us to assign a location to equipment. We want to do that on the actual equipment setup screen. And then we can also add contacts or people who are in charge of different locations in the church. The next item we have are people. Now people are pulled over from the membership module. If you've added people in membership, let's cancel out of here real quick and show you how they are pulled over to scheduler. If I go to any record, I should have opened membership ahead of time, and I go into members or visitors, and if you look in the upper right last bit of information on that top portion of the individual record is a checkbox show in scheduler. If that is checked, then that individual will show up in the scheduler module as someone you can assign to an event or piece of equipment or a duty. Let's go ahead and go back over to Scheduler now. So again, going to Setup and People. This list of people are people in the member or visitor database where I've checked Include in Scheduler, and that automatically shows their name. Again, we can check everyone here, uncheck, and we can get a report on all these people if we'd like. We can't add people here because they're pulled over from membership, but if you don't see a name that you want to see here, then you'd want to go to their membership record and make sure Include in Scheduler is checked. And then the last item under Setup is Shaded Areas. Shaded areas, if we look just behind the window that popped up, you can see the light green where it says office closed for lunch, or the pink that says coffee break. If you'd like to schedule things that occur at the church that aren't necessarily events, but things that occur on a daily basis and you want on the calendar, you can use the shaded areas to add those. Now I'll go ahead and add a second coffee break because I love coffee. Whoops, I want to go. We'll make it at 4 o'clock. We have one at 3, and then I need one more coffee break at 4. So we'll say from 4, I can click in the boxes and type in, or I can use the little arrows to change the time. We'll just make it 4 to 4:15. We'll keep it pink for our coffee break. You can edit the color that shows for the shading by just clicking on Edit Color. But we'll keep that pink and then click Add. Oops, I forgot to put coffee break. I left it at new item. Oh, we'll call it second coffee break. My fingers are not spelling today. There we go, coffee. So we'll say Add. Okay. And now we see at 4 o'clock our second coffee break. Oh, I'm not seeing, I must have made a mistake there trying to do it too quickly and edited my first one. All right, I want to show you really quick, because we're past halfway through, how we can actually set up an event. Maybe we have a wedding May 21st at 1 p.m. I can either double click right on the start time, and that automatically opens up the new event box, and because we have our start and end time set to an hour, it's already defaulted to 1 to 2. I can change that time if I need to. Now that's one way you can set up an event. I didn't save it, so it didn't keep it there. Or I prefer personally clicking on the beginning time, and then I'm just dragging down with my mouse to fill the amount of time that event's going to span, and then hitting enter on my keyboard. Now it's defaulted to the start and end time that I filled up as I drag down with my mouse. And then I can type in a description of what this event is. Down below, notice I can choose from the different items we just looked at setting up. I can choose a location. So here, we'll put this in the sanctuary and say OK. We don't have any contacts, so I'm not going to put any there. But you can go across each of the different tabs here if you'd like and fill in as much information or as little as you need. For contacts, equipment, the category, let's go ahead and we will assign this wedding since we have a wedding category. Notes, and then any duties you need. Now to add, let me make sure here, these are all simple enough to just click the little button here that says change and then make whatever changes or additions you need. Duties is a little different. If I want to add some duties, then down along the bottom, I need to click Add Duty, and that brings up a line where I can select, by clicking this down arrow, what the duty is. And then I can indicate how many people I need to be greeters. Say 2, it's a small wedding. And if I want to assign people, I can click the arrow under Assigned, and choose the people I'd like to assign to that event. I'm going to go ahead and save this so we can see it on the calendar. Now, I'm going to set up, let's set up really quickly. Let's say on Thursday nights, they have basketball practice for 2 hours. So I'm going to fill that 2-hour time and then hit enter on my keyboard. Basketball, we'll go ahead and just put a location here because they're in the gym. However, this is going to occur every Thursday night for the next 8 weeks. So we can easily, rather than having to go set this up every single Thursday, we can click recurrence up at the top here, and we can choose a recurrence pattern, either daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly, however many days, or a specific weekday if we'd like to say every weekday. We have to change to weekly. Oh, that would be daily. We're going to say here this is weekly. It's every 1 week on Thursdays. Then below here we need to choose the range. It's going to start on the 19th, and we can either tell it will end after so many occurrences or pick a specific date. I'm going to put 8 weeks or 8 occurrences because I said 8 weeks. And I can click OK here, and now I can click Save here. And we see basketball in the gym, Thursday, May 19th. But if I move to the next week, notice now I'm looking, we can see across the top, I'm looking at the week beginning May 22nd, and we see basketball in the gym. If I keep moving through the different weeks, it's going all the way through June 30th, the 7th. Whoops, I think the 7th was our last one. So it scheduled it for 8 weeks. All right, really quickly, because we have about 3 minutes left, that's just in a nutshell how to set up the different portions of things you can assign to an event, how to set up one event, and then how to set up a recurring event. Really quickly, let's look. We have some different reports. Now, the 5 reports down below, category, all the different things you can set up, these are the same reports you can get on that setup screen, where it's just showing you a list of those different items. What I want to really show you here is under reports, we can create a calendar. Here we can choose to do a month or just a week. If we choose a week, then we'd have to indicate what week we'd like from what month. Let's go back to month. We have a content tab where you can choose some different items and put a heading. Under selection, if we wanted to narrow down maybe to just our weddings, we could say check that and click the categories button. And then if we were to uncheck all and choose weddings, now if I were to click print, the only thing, whoops, I went into June and my wedding is in May. So let's look at May. Click print now. The only thing I should show is my one wedding that you just watched me add. If we want a calendar, though, that shows everything for that month, we wouldn't select anything here, and we can just click print. And that brings up a nice calendar format of what we have, what events we have going on for May. The other report I'd like to show you really quickly is our event report. This is more a text format report. We can choose a start and end date, not just a specific month. You could choose to group by specific items here. Content tab, you have all kinds of checkboxes here to indicate what you'd like to see or not see. On the format tab, some more options about how everything's arranged on the report. And then again, a selections tab if you want to narrow down to just a certain thing or place or equipment or person, any of those. Let's go ahead and just look at the entire month of May. We'll click print. And again, this is more a text report that's indicating all of the different events and all of the bits of information I checked off to see for the time period I've asked for. All right, again, that was a really quick summary going into not much detail of how you set up the different portions of the scheduler module and then how you can set up an event or a recurring event, and also the reports you can see from the scheduler module. I'm going to take a look at the questions now. It is 2:20 right now. You're welcome to stick around for the questions and answers. Again, I'm sorry it went so long, but that was a lot to show you in just 20 minutes. If you need to leave now, then just click the X in the upper right of your GoToWebinar toolbar, and that will exit you from the room. Let me look and see what questions we have. Someone asked, is it possible to print a calendar for multiple weeks or date range? If not, is this something that may be available in a future update? The actual calendar report, no. That is specifically for a specific month or weeks. I can certainly add a suggestion to be able to print multiple calendars, not just 1 month at a time. Now the event report, that you can choose any start and end date range for that report. So the event report, you can print multiple weeks or multiple months. The actual calendar does not. Someone asked, will this program sync with Google Calendar? No. I am not aware of any additions being made to the program. I know people have asked for that, but I'm not aware of it doing any communication with the internet. You can export, or here we go. If we go to report and calendar, you can take the calendar or event report and you can export it. And if you click the little arrow just to the right of the export button, you can choose HTML or image, and that would be something you could create to put up on your website. But it does not sync with Google and add things to Google that you put on here or vice versa. So no, we can definitely add that to suggestions though, but it does not sync with any internet calendars. All right, are there other questions? Now, if you have a question and you're in the middle of typing it, go ahead and hit send or enter and then finish typing the rest. That way I'll know you're trying to ask me a question and I won't close the room before you finish typing. Now, I did see a question from Vania Whitlock about printing a duty report. I just want to add something to that. Under reports and duty report, if you print this report, this is just going to be a report of the different duties you've set up. If you specifically want a report of who you have assigned to different duties, then you'll want to go up to reports and either calendar or event. I'll go to event in this case. And then go to the selections tab, put a check in duties, and here you can check off the different duties you'd like to see. Also down here, if you're asking for duties, you can tell it check here and have it show events where you haven't assigned someone to that duty. So that might be more like what you're looking for about the duties for the month. But if you have other questions, definitely that's what you needed. Okay, so yeah, take a look at that. I think that will show you more of what you want there. Are there other questions? All right, I'm not seeing any half-typed questions being sent. Nothing new coming into the question panel. So I am going to go ahead and end the user group for today. We do record all of these, and we've started on Thursday. Our video editor is on Thursday, coming in and standardizing and cleaning up and editing the videos, and those are being put up on our YouTube channel. I want to show you real quick, if you have a moment. If somebody else signed you up for this webinar, if you look on our website under training, click on free online webinars, and that takes you to a page where you can sign up for as many of the webinars as you like. They are free. And down at the bottom of that page is a link to our YouTube channel. and the playlist. If you go here, I like to click on the one at the top. This, if you look, there are tons and tons of the videos that we have, the webinars that we've recorded and are putting up for free for you to watch at a later time if you need to. And two other things I like to point out when I'm doing a webinar. If you need more help with church windows and it's after hours or the weekend or you don't have time for a call, excuse me, look under the support tab. There we have a link to new version resources, which are free movies and videos. And also our support blog is the last option under support. And this, the blog has both documents and movies. They're all free that you can watch or print out. All kinds of free help to help you with some of the changes in church windows. So again, thank you so much for attending today. If you have questions, definitely email or give us a call and we'd be happy to help. Sign up for other webinars and have a great day. Thank you so much for attending. Bye.